We are learning more about former President Trump's plans to carry out mass deportations of undocumented migrants if he wins in November. He told our Allie Bradley exclusively that he would lean on local law enforcement.
They know them very well. They know their names. They know their middle names. They know everything about them. The local police and the local officers and all local law enforcement in their community, they know everybody. They know the good ones, the bad ones. They know everything about them. And they're going to get them, and they're going to get them out.
Well, this is a proposal that does have the support of the majority of voters, according to the most recent polling. Let's bring in border correspondent Allie Bradley, who is live for us in Del Rio, Texas. Allie, you spoke with the former president. You've spoken with local law enforcement there at the southern border. What are they saying?
Yeah, hey, Nichole, not only is it popular among voters, but it's also popular amongst law enforcement down here at the southern border. Most sheriffs that I've spoken to and have worked with over the last 3 years support the former president's move here and removing people who shouldn't be here, according to them. Now, there are concerns, there are questions. How do you pull something like this off with already strapped resources? We know all of the law enforcement at the southern border has been screaming about a lack of resources. So how do you feasibly pull this off? Well, the plan is to round up millions of illegal immigrants and remove them. But the reality is there are millions who don't want to be found. And then there are millions who have a legal right to due process with their notices to appear. The former president, though, telling us in order to find the ones who don't want to be found, it's going to take an effort from local law enforcement, who Mr. Trump says know everyone living in their communities, who can help identify people who need to be deported.
And it will be a very big and monumental task to cooperate with the federal government and to ensure our community that we aren't just going rounding up persons of color and deporting them. These are criminals that we are arresting for victimizing us, and we are making sure they go back to the country where they belong.
Before we're going to round up anybody, we need some kind of court documents from the federal government saying, hey, this person possibly in your county, can you find them? And I don't know everybody in my county, but I guarantee you those that come, whether it's on a traffic stop or speed or a traffic violation, we will encounter those. Any other person that's wanted in this country, time is our friend, time is their enemy.
Okay, we want to show you just one example of what law enforcement are going to be up against down here. This is all the same man. He was arrested in Ohio, jailed 11 times. Sheriff Jones says that this man used 7 different names, 3 different dates of birth. And according to the sheriff, he was deported 8 times. Now, Texas DPS, very, very present down here along the southern border when it comes to enforcement as well, also charging migrants with trespassing. Well, when I talked with Texas DPS about what it would look like for them to be involved in this effort, they said they take their orders from the governor, something that former President Trump says he supports Governor Greg Abbott's move, so likely he would encourage Texas DPS to be involved in this effort as well. Nichole.
All right, Allie. So what about people with legal protections? Would they also potentially be subject to removal under this plan?
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? Not black and white, kind of a gray area. The former president actually telling us that he would remove temporary protective status to some migrants from Haiti living in Ohio. Now, we did press on the former president's vice presidential pick and Senator J.D. Vance asking him if he supported the kind of executive action to bypass these kind of due process rights with these notices to appear. He said, yes, he would support the former president in doing that. Now, we also asked Senator Vance what they would do when it comes to these countries that aren't taking deportation flights. And he said they would basically go after their economic factors there, that they would use the power of the American economy to go after these countries that won't receive these migrants. Now, take a listen to what Sheriff Brad Coe down here in Kinney County had to say about those efforts in these countries not accepting these flights.
All these countries are telling their people to leave. Go to the United States. We want you out of our country. Send the money home, but leave the country. We need to help them in their own country. We need to give them the guidance on how to do that. We fly them in with military escort, with military boots on the ground, and we make them take them back.
Now, that kind of sounds like what the former president said to Nichole when I pushed him on what happens if these countries don't take back these flights, because Venezuela hasn't since February. He says they will receive them. We'll send them. They'll receive them. So we'll see how that plays out, Nichole.
All right. Allie Bradley live for us there in Del Rio. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.